Hello, Spartans. This is Principal Michael Hassell. Today is Sunday, September 13th, and tomorrow will be September 14th, the start of school for Scituate School District, and welcoming back our Scituate Spartans. And we can't wait to see you all. I'd like to take some time here and review the Scituate High School Student-Parent Guidebook. This is a pretty comprehensive slide presentation that includes all things and resources about reopening our schools for Monday, September 14th. So I'll be sharing my screen, and you should be able to see our presentation while I talk through it with all of you. So welcome back to the 2020-2022 school year. This guide is a live document, and we will make sure that we're updating it. Every time that we update this document, we plan to reshare it with students and with the community as well, highlighting what those changes are. The first thing that we need to talk about, and it's one of the first slides here because it's very important, for those students who have opted to attend school starting tomorrow in person, it is important and required that the parent or guardian of those high school students completes a COVID checklist before school starts. It is one of the requirements to enter the building and attend school. We are working with our data manager, and we hope that a link will be sent out every morning where parents can see this. We need parents to fill this form out by 7:30. If parents do not fill this out, we are keeping track of that. We'll be calling students down to our nurse, and they'll be performing an assessment of the student as well. So this is going to be number one, our most important thing to remember for Scituate High School students and also parents as we enter our new school year. Again, students who are in Group A and B, you can find it on a QR code here. It's on our high school website. I'm also sharing this on our student Google Classrooms. We're going to put it everywhere so that parents can have this link each morning. So welcome. We'd like to welcome some new people to Scituate High School this year. First, we want to congratulate Officer Richard Parenti. He has moved up to Sergeant. He's been promoted, and he will no longer be the school resource officer here at Scituate. We thank him so much for all that he's done over the past 4 years. And we're happy to welcome Officer Corey Nagel as our new school resource officer. He came in last week. We started to work together, and he's going to be really great. And he's there for students and community members if they need him. Also, we have a new special education teacher and department chair, Mrs. Hebert. She joins us with lots of experience from Newport school districts and also Woonsocket. So welcome, Mrs. Hebert. We want to thank Mr. Carenti in our buildings and grounds. He's our building and ground supervisor, and all our custodians for making sure that our school is safe, clean, and ready to be opened on September 14th. Thank you to our reopening task force. We were recognized by the governor in the summertime as having a model plan for the state for reopening. So thank you to our reopening staff. Congratulations on being number one. Scituate High School was voted by the Projo Reader's Choice Awards as being the best public high school. This is our second year in a row. So good job, Spartans, and thank you for the community members who voted each day. Some guiding principles for reopening. I'll go through these slides pretty quickly. We want to make sure that every decision we made with reopening, we were thinking of being safe as number one, that we would be transparent, that we would be equitable, and that we would hold high standards for ourselves and for our students. We will also use this situation as an opportunity and reimagine the way we do things and approach things with a solutions-based attitude. So there'll be a modified schedule for Monday, September 14th. That's for everyone. So every student that attends Scituate High School, your first day is tomorrow, which is Monday, the 14th. Students who are going to be in Group A, they have the last names A through K, who have opted to arrive in person. Once mom and dad fill out that form, you can arrive to school either on bus. I know some of our students drive in. and we will not be opening the front doors until 7:35. Our first bell rings at 7:45. Students are to go right to their first period class, which is period 1 on Monday. Another important reminder with schedules, we're asking that Sunday night students log into PowerSchool and they get their schedule. Whether they printed out that document that I just shared, I'll go back to it. When you click there, you'll see tomorrow's schedule. And students can actually make a copy of that schedule and start filling in their schedule if they feel they'll be more successful that way. So they can put in room number, teacher, they can print that out with them, take a screenshot, put it on their Chromebook. But again, we would like students to review their schedule tonight on Sunday night to make sure that they understand where to go tomorrow, period 1. There'll be an extended period 1. I'll be giving a Zoom webinar with Ms. Hart to address the students and the faculty for the first day. And then we'll run through the schedule as is through the day tomorrow. Students who are joining virtually, maybe they're day B students or students who opted to distance learn, they will be logging into their school Chromebook. They will be clicking on their Google Classroom for their teacher of period 1 and joining their Google Meet so they can participate live in real time at 7:45 from home tomorrow. So again, just some reminders about the staggered start. Scituate High School is staggering our start with a group A and a group B. We will have about 160 students in our building in a given week. And that easily allows us to fit into one cafeteria, stay 6 feet apart in the classrooms, and then again, we will reassess where we're at and also listen to the governor on October 14th and make a decision of where to go from there. So what will learning look like when my group is at home? If you are a group B, all Scituate High School teachers and students will utilize their Chromebook. So if you're at home, again, you're going to open up your Chromebook. You're going to log into whatever period you have first. Tomorrow is a Monday, so it's a period 1. You're going to find that Google Classroom and that Google Meet, and you're going to participate live. The students who are in person will also be opening up their Chromebook and participating. So that'll give us the opportunity to interact with each other. If there's a student in person or a student at home, we can interact with each other virtually as we learn along with the classroom teacher. So we also have some teachers that were not able to physically come into the building. So we have a set number of distance learning teachers. So they are the teacher of record. If I'm a student who's coming to school in person and I arrive to that class and I realize that my teacher is at home because they might be at high risk to come into the building, they will be teaching the students who are both at home and in person using Google Meets. There will be a staff member or a substitute in that classroom, and they'll be helping with crowd control and safety, and there'll be that liaison between the classroom teacher and the students to help out there. So there are a number of teachers who will be teaching at home. They are available during the school day. They will be there live, virtually, and they're available for any questions from students and parents as well. All Scituate High School students are encouraged to have headphones. This was a kind of last minute change that we realized that we absolutely need. Last week, the teachers came back for professional development and a teacher orientation day, and we realized that whether students are in person or at home, they're going to need those headphones. If they don't and they're joining a Google Meet and they can hear their volume, it's going to get picked up on those other Chromebooks, and there's going to be some echoing happening. So tomorrow, when you arrive to school in person, my group A people, you need to make sure that you're bringing headphones, earbuds. If you don't have any, when you arrive to school, go right to Mrs. Gallagher, and we have a very small amount that students would be able to borrow if they needed that. All students need to arrive to school tomorrow with a fully charged Chromebook. We're going to be using these Chromebooks a lot, and we want to make sure that you're getting that full charge that you need. And there might not be an access where you're sitting next to a charger or an outlet. Again, we need to stay 6 feet apart from everybody, so we're really not going to have students moving around the room or standing in a different place. It's really important that students have a charged Chromebook when they arrive on the 14th. If you haven't had a chance to see my virtual walkthrough, make sure that you take a peek at that. I apologize for moving my hands so much. I'm a typical Rhode Islander. So the schedule, we've added 5-minute passing times because we do have one-way hallways. So we're giving students enough time to be on time to class. And we've also staggered our dismissal. So the middle school will start dismissing as early as 2 o'clock, and then 2:03, 2:06. And then the high school after that will be dismissing by hallway. The teachers will tell the students it's time to go. And then you just leave, finding the closest exit. Here's a snapshot of our schedule. Again, this is a resource guide, so students and parents can click on this, screenshot it, add it to their drive, print it out, whatever you need to do. This is our schedule this year with passing times and our lunch times as well. I will say that the fourth block of the day is our lunch period, and it is longer than any other period. We needed to do that because we need a good 5 minutes in between our 4 lunch waves for our custodians to come in and sanitize all of the desks that students will be eating at. Again, high school students are eating in the high school cafeteria. We were able to get enough desks in there where we're only using that location. We're also encouraging students to eat outside if they so choose. As of right now, there will be no after-school activities, no late buses, and we'll also have no department nights. Again, we'll reassess things on a week-by-week basis. There are high school athletics, so we'll talk about that in a further slide. So that really is the only reason why students should be staying after school, is if they're participating in a sport. Spartan achievement. This is an opportunity for students, especially in 11 and 12, opposite their health class, to get caught up on work, get some extra help, reach out to teachers, maybe work with their school counselor. But if students are working from home, we don't expect you to open up that meet and stay on there for 50 minutes. So if you have a Spartan achievement and you're learning virtually, we're asking that you sign in for 5 minutes, check in with your Spartan achievement teacher, and then you're free to log off and independently work from home. High school athletics. So the Interscholastic League have submitted their plan to the governor's office, and the governor has responded with a press release, which you can click in this guide. We will be running boys cross country, girls cross country, girls tennis, sideline cheer, boys soccer, girls soccer. We are looking at football, girls volleyball, and unified sports to potentially have their season in March. So the Interscholastic League is working with Mr. Gelsomino, the AD, and myself as a principal for those details each day. There's going to be a lot of changes to athletics, how many spectators we're supposed to have, what will that transportation look like. So I'm working with Mr. Gelsomino, and we're hoping to have an athletic town hall meeting in the next 2 weeks to make it very clear to everybody what the expectations are for athletics during this pandemic. I will say that those students who are in Group B or A, and that it's not their week to be in school, as well as our distance learning students, they are still allowed to participate in athletics. So there'll be more guidance on this. Those students will need transportation to practice, but they will not be penalized if they can't get to practice because of a lack of transportation. And there'll be a lot more about that in the coming week. Families who have chosen to distance learn. So we are hoping to run a drive-through at the high school on Monday, September 21st from 3:30 to 6:30 in the auditorium. We're asking teachers this week to create packets, textbooks, calculators, anything that a distance learning student would need. And then we're asking families to swing by and pick those up so they can be successful for the year and have the same opportunities and access to our curriculum that any other student would have. So distance learning, just a couple of notes here. Students who choose distance learning will remain at home from September 14th through November. These students are not in Group A or Group B, and they will not physically come into the building. Distance learning students will be designated in PowerSchool for attendance, so that way teachers can see that. So just a little example here, on September 14th, in an Algebra 1 the Algebra 1 teacher may have 25 students on their roster for period 2. 10 students might be in Group A and they're in person. There might be 8 students in Group B who are learning from home, and then there might be 7 students who opted to distance learn. All of these 25 students are getting the same live instruction all at the same time. Expectations for students when participating from home. I'm not going to go through all of these. Again, this parent and student resource was shared with you, so make sure that you're taking a peek at some etiquette of being online, knowing that all school rules apply, remembering to mute your device when you're not speaking, and things like that. Just making sure that you have a quiet space at home. This is not like distance learning was in March, where students have the free time to work on their own. Students at home are going to be following the exact bell schedule as the students who are in person. So we're expecting those students to participate, show up on time. If the period starts at 9:50 and it's 10 o'clock and that student isn't on the meet, their teacher is going to mark them absent and tardy, and we're going to call home to figure out what's going on and where that student is. So again, those students at home, you're participating in your learning in real time with the students who are physically in the building. Some Google Meets expectations. Again, take a peek at this guide to make sure that you're carefully reviewing this. Some hints on joining your Google Classroom. I think we all have experience with this from distance learning back in the spring. So here's an important slide that we just added today. All students should join their Google Class Meet each period, both in person and students at home. If the teacher isn't on the screen yet, maybe it's a distance learning teacher, we're asking that those students shut off their video and shut off their audio and watch until that teacher's there. We don't want to have a situation where students are interacting with each other without any sort of supervision. So we're telling students that they cannot turn on their audio or video until the teacher is present in that meet. Just some guidebooks here, some links to some distance learning. These are links that were intended like back in March when we were full distance learning. So if COVID starts to increase and we get information from the governor or from the Department of Health that we have to shut things down and go back to distance learning, we're doing things a lot differently. So we're asking parents and students to review these guides carefully. Just some Chromebook helpful tricks to split your screen. You can take a peek at that. So bathroom, water breaks, and hallways. These are obviously for our students who are in person. So we're working through a digital hall pass this year that will be shared with all students. They can open up their Chromebook, click on that hall pass. It's a Google form where they'll click where they're going. It'll do a timestamp for them, and we can collect data on where students are going and keeping track of that. Hallways are to be used for passing only. So again, when students arrive to school, they're following one-way hallways and they need to go directly to their first period class. This is going to be really important to follow. Lockers will not be used at this time. This was part of the guidelines of reopening the school. You'll see that they're zip tied shut, and backpacks are allowed. Our teachers have been encouraged to go digital whenever possible. So we're really hoping that the weight of these backpacks are not going to be something where students are in pain from carrying these backpacks. So arrival and dismissal. Here are the 4 main items that students need to do in order to get into the school. So the parents need to complete their daily form, their COVID form, by 7:30 every single morning. Again, these are for students who are physically in person in school. All students must wear a mask at all times. And I have to say, Ms. Hart and I think this is our biggest fear, where we can't communicate this enough, that students need to wear an appropriate mask, and it has to be covering both their mouth and their nose at all times. Obviously, if students are having an issue in class or they need a break, we're encouraging teachers to allow those students one by one go out into the hallway and take a break if they need it. We also have outdoor classrooms, and students will be hopefully spending a lot of time outdoors to get a break from being inside. Students also need to arrive no earlier than 7:35. We're not allowing anyone into the building before 7:35. And then again, bring a fully charged Chromebook with headphones. So these items are non-negotiable. Doors will open at 7:35. We talked through that. Students should enter the building and follow the one-way hallways to their class. And students taking the bus should consider bringing jackets, hats, gloves, because my understanding is that those bus windows will be open to increase the airflow of the buses as well. Student drop-off will be across from Cato Field, our football field, where it's been there in the past. And then again, the dismissal will be staggered. Here's a map of morning arrival. Again, students will have access to this document. Afternoon dismissal. And we have our bus stop info. This is on the district website. You could click this link or visit our high school or district website for more information on that. Again, per the governor's orders, all students and staff must wear a mask when they're here in school. We found out very late last week that the CDC and the Department of Health are not recommending gaiters, those things that go over your neck and you pull them up like this. They're just too thin, and the research is showing that they are not blocking your air or spit to come out of that. So we really have to have those cloth coverings, those medical masks. Unfortunately, we are not allowing gaiters into the school. We do have hundreds and hundreds of boxes of medical masks, and any student who needs a mask can come to the office and get one from us for free. I realize this is short notice. I also had a gaiter on in my walkthrough video, so that just shows how things are changing so quickly, and I apologize for that, but it changed, and this is what we need to follow. We have a video here from Bill Nye to kind of show the differences between the different types of masks. He's blowing out a candle, and you can see he can easily blow out that candle with one of those gaiter masks on, where he can't with the other masks. So students should arrive to school and on the bus with a clean mask each morning. And just a little science behind COVID-19, the #1 way to prevent it is wearing a mask. The second way to prevent COVID is spacing 6 feet or more when possible. And the third thing is sanitizing and washing. So students will have access to hand sanitizers throughout every single classroom, in the main office, in the cafeteria. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. The bathrooms have our water and soap that they could use as well. We're also asking high school students, because we don't have stable pods, to after the last 2 minutes of instruction, the teachers will stop. They'll ask students to grab a wipe and sanitize their desk, because that desk is really the only shared space that we're having in the school. The students will wipe that down, safely deposit the wipe in the trash can, and then when the bell rings and they leave and a new student comes in, those students are welcome to wipe those down as well if they feel more comfortable with that. We have gloves for students that they can wear them when they're wiping them down if they feel more comfortable. Again, just a reminder, the COVID screening tool is a ticket to enter the building. We need all students, parents, and guardians to fill that out each morning. Again, some slides of how we're ensuring safety for all. And Mrs. G, our school nurse, has worked very hard in ensuring that we are safe. We've hired extra custodians. They have a written, documented schedule of when to clean, especially those high surface areas, bathrooms. They're not only cleaning, but they're sanitizing multiple times throughout the day. And our night crew is sanitizing at night as well. We also have all ventilation. It has been upgraded and meets the regulations for a safe school reopening. And we have 2 box fans in every single classroom that will be bringing fresh air in and exhausting the bad air out of the building. Every single classroom has that. Just some classroom guidelines. You can take a peek at that. I'm going to go through these kind of nurse specific ones and ask that families review these at home as well. If a student does not feel good, we're asking that the parents call the high school office in the morning, talk to Mrs. Gallagher or Mrs. Montagano, let them know, you know what, they woke up with the sniffles today. They have a really sore throat, you know, maybe their stomach doesn't feel good, maybe they're displaying one of the symptoms. We're going to encourage those students to stay home and actually distance learn. So our attendance rate should be some of the best attendance that we've had, because if students are not feeling well, but they're still able to participate in their learning, we're encouraging them to jump onto the Google Meet and participate in distance learning for the day. If students are displaying symptoms in school, there's a protocol for that. They'll be evaluated by Mrs. G, our school nurse. if Mrs. G feels that they are displaying two of the listed symptoms or one of the kind of emergency symptoms, they're going to be put into an isolation room. That isolation room is supervised by school personnel. The school nurse will contact the parents immediately and tell them that they need to go for a COVID test, and the Department of Health will be contacted as well. If students need to quarantine for any reason, the protocol will be to call the high school office, and Mrs. Gallagher or front office staff will contact Mrs. G and tell you what protocols to follow. If a student is asked to quarantine because maybe they could have been in close contact with someone, then they would again distance learn from home so they don't miss out on their education. Close contact means 6 feet of being within 6 feet of an infected person with or without a mask for more than 15 minutes. So some other definitions: contact tracing, incubation period, and then again, we're encouraging students and families to go through all of these protocols. There's some resources on what to look out for. Student attendance and responding to symptoms. Teachers at SHS will take attendance in PowerSchool every period as they have in the past, and students will be marked present or absent depending if they are in person or logged into the Google Meet, and the high school will continue to follow our attendance policy. So if students display a cough, shortness of breath, or a new loss, taste, or smell, then our nurse will tell you that you should get a COVID test if it's any one of those symptoms. If you have two of these symptoms here listed here, then again, our school nurse will tell you that you should go get a COVID test and be in constant contact with the school. That's what we're asking for. You know, if you get that COVID test, the Department of Health is involved and will contact us, but just to make sure, we're asking that parents reach out and have constant communication with us. Some protocols from our school nurse as well, some more symptoms. We talked a little bit about cleaning the building with our fresh air. Where there were no windows, some of our music classrooms, we were able to get HEPA filters in those classrooms as well. And then everyone is responsible for ensuring their space is clean after each use. And it's going to be very important that parents and students are in touch with me in the school to make sure that this is happening. Breakfast and lunch. So lunch and breakfast this year will be free for all students. In today's newsletter, I'll be sharing shortly here, there's a link that will take families to a form that they have to fill out, but we're offering free lunch for all students this year. Unfortunately, we're only offering cold lunch. It's a grab-and-go bag, and students will only have a couple of options for that, unfortunately, until we kind of get in a better place, and then the district will make the decision or not if they want to move to serving hot lunches as well. But we are serving cold lunch and breakfast as well, and as long as families fill out the form on the district website, every student is going to have a free lunch if they so choose. And of course, we're encouraging students to bring in their own lunch if that's what they prefer. There's a lunch schedule that is released. Each student will have either lunch 1, 2, 3, or 4. We have 4 different lunch waves, and that is included in this guide as well. It's right here, actually, when students click. So safety drills in emergency situations. If there is an actual emergency in the school, we will immediately communicate that to the students who are here, and we will tell them what the next steps are. If it's a real emergency, we are asking and telling all students and staff that they are to revert back to pre-COVID procedures. If it's a lockdown, our students know those procedures. If it's a fire drill, those students go out the nearest exit. If it's a drill, we'll be talking with students and helping them through that. We are going to be practicing fire drills, but we're going to be doing it while socially distancing, and there'll be a lot more information to come on that. Our state calendar is out. We've aligned our Scituate calendar with the state, and this is linked on our website. It's in my newsletter. It's also in this guide as well. And then some specific Scituate dates, including the high school marking periods. Just some resources for parents and students, the RIDE website, the Department of Health, some frequently asked questions, some resources on helping students with emotional crises. So those are there as well. We have our full reopening plan and our high school website there as well. So I just want to say, I know it's a lot of information coming at you. So I'm hoping that this video will help you through that guide. Again, we are so excited to welcome everybody either virtually or in person on Monday the 14th. I'm going to remind you again, if you're showing up in person, fully charged Chromebook, the COVID form needs to be filled out by a parent. Please bring headphones or earbuds. And the building opens at 7:35. First period starts at 7:45. It's been great to work with our teachers all week. They're so excited to welcome you back as well. We have talked about being as flexible as possible, especially during these 2 first weeks. So really, if there's a bump in the road, if the power goes out, if for some reason the Google Meet isn't working, it's okay. We're going to figure it out. We're going to tweak it. We're going to get better. And each day we're going to get better and better and better to ensure that we're getting back to learning at Scituate High School. So if there's any questions at all during our first day here, throughout the week, please contact me, contact our school counselors, Mrs. Gallagher, Ms. Hart, and we're happy to answer those questions. One final thought about schedules. Again, a reminder, tonight, Sunday night, please take a look at PowerSchool, look at that schedule, and have that physically in front of you, either printed out, a screenshot on your Chromebook when you arrive to school tomorrow. All teachers have been asked to stand outside of their classroom to welcome you, and if anybody has any questions, we can direct you in the right area. We're also asking, I know that some students might have some errors in their schedule, or they want to change their schedule. Students have 2 weeks to do that. But we're asking that if you have a schedule and you're assigned to a teacher and a class for period 1 on Monday, that you simply just go to your period 1 class. If that's the class that you want to change or there's an error, we're asking that you stay in that class, and then later on in the day when things settle down a little bit, either make an appointment with your school counselor or if you're physically in person, head down to guidance and start talking to that school counselor about those schedule conflicts. I know they're going to be pretty busy tomorrow, so we're asking that parents and students be patient with those student schedules. Okay, so we will see everyone bright and early tomorrow, and we are so excited to start this school year. Thank you so much for your partnership. Have a great day and a great school year.